It's all I have left that boils even at all.
Seam's torn. Heat did most of the hurt. You worked the fire yourself?
Sometimes the fire works me.
I'll patch it, no charge. Those marks, not forge marks.
I fell. Stove door snapped.
Stoves don't choose a hand. You can wait inside. Warm air's kind.
I won't be long. Don't wish to trouble.
Trouble's already here.
Thank you, mister.
Call me Smith.
Folks outside got long ears.
We can outwait 'em.
He don't like me speaking without a nod.
Husbands ain't wardens.
He says I burned supper on purpose.
Their talk ain't law.
Law sleeps when he drinks. Caleb Turner.
He drink at the Red Lantern?
Most nights.
You lose something, Hammerman?
Found something? Weren't mine? Thought I'd return it.
You bring me sermons now? Truth is, I keep my house.
Men don't keep people.
Step back, Smithy.
Smith, you in? Huh.
Ain't like him to leave a mess.
This ain't mess. It's message.
2 sets, 1 later.
Let him ride.
Is it far? You left the glove.
So they'd stop asking.
Wyoming Territory, 1887, dawn pressed thin light through the cracked boards of Red Bluff's Main Street. The wind came restless off the hills, pulling dust across the hitching posts and rattling the tin signs that hung above shuttered storefronts. Coal smoke drifted from one open window, the forge. Inside, the hammer's rhythm kept time with the wind, steady and deliberate, as if beating back the silence of a country that never quite forgot its ghosts. Eli Hart moved within the glow of his anvil fire, sleeves rolled to his elbows, sweat cutting lines through the soot on his arms. He was a man who spoke rarely, whose eyes carried the stillness of someone who'd seen too much noise. The Powder River War had taken that from him. The ease of words, the trust in men. Since returning, the forge was all he had wanted: iron, heat, and silence. The hiss of water on hot steel felt cleaner than the sound of gunfire ever had. The mornings were always the same: a horse's whicker in the distance, the creak of wagon wheels, a hawk's cry above the red buttes. Eli's hammer lifted and fell like a heartbeat. He didn't look up when the door opened, but he felt the chill sweep in with the scent of sagebrush and perfume faint as lilac. "Mr. Hart," said a woman's voice, low and careful. Turned. She stood framed by the morning light, a woman in a weather-worn shawl, the color of river clay. Her mare snorted behind her, favoring one leg. "Shoes?" Eli asked. "Front ones. The trail chewed them bad." She hesitated before handing him the reins. When her fingers brushed his palm, he noticed the skin, scarred and reddened, blistered in patches. Burns, not from the forge. He'd seen those before on soldiers who'd grabbed hot barrels or fallen against fire. He said nothing. She caught him staring and tucked her hands into her sleeves. Her eyes, gray, sharp, wary, flicked toward the saloon at the far end of town where laughter leaked through swinging doors even at this hour. Eli nodded toward the stall. "Leave her there. I'll have her right by dusk." The woman gave a small nod and turned away. Her gait was steady, but her shoulders trembled beneath the shawl. When the door shut, Eli watched the ember in his forge twist and settle. He didn't know her, but something in the way she carried silence told him she'd learned to survive around cruel men. By dusk, Red Bluff had woken. The sun burned orange behind the buttes, painting the town in rust. Eli led the shod mare out to meet her owner. She thanked him quietly, her voice like brittle glass. He saw the burns again as she reached for the reins, rawer this time as though reopened. "Careful with that stove," he said. She paused. The stove." Then she mounted and rode off without another word, the dust from her horse hanging long in the cooling light. Eli stood there a moment, the anvil behind him still warm, and felt something unsettled take root. He had spent years ignoring what went on around him, the sheriff's new coat each month, the mine owner's expanding fence lines, the way fear traveled faster than gossip. He told himself a blacksmith's duty was to metal, not men. But the memory of those burns gnawed at him. That night he sat by the forge long after the fire died. The wind outside rattled the shutters, and the smell of iron gave way to ash. He remembered soldiers' screams from the war, the smell of scorched skin, the weight of guilt that came after. He thought of her hands again, delicate but marked by something deliberate. By morning, the town was its usual self, alive with the clatter of wagons and the sharp laughter of men with too much whiskey and too little conscience. Sheriff Dane Caldwell stood on the boardwalk outside the telegraph office, polishing his badge while his deputies leaned against a rail, spitting tobacco. They were paid, everyone knew, by Harlan Kettner, the man who owned the Copper Star mine and half the souls that worked it. The mine had killed 30 men over the years, cave-ins, gas pockets, accidents. One of them had been Clara Morrow's husband. The company had sent flowers, then a bill. Folks whispered that Kettner bought her homestead for 1/10 of what it was worth. She refused, they said. And after that, bad luck followed her like a curse. Eli heard those whispers too. He ignored them until the day Clara returned, pale beneath her shawl, a tremor in her hands as she led the same mare. He saw new burns on her wrists, darker this time, the pattern like coiled rope. "She's favoring her leg again," she said softly. Eli crouched beside the mare but kept his eyes on her hands. "You burn easy for a woman who knows her way around a stove." Her lips parted, but she said nothing. He caught a flicker of fear, not of him, but of something outside these walls. He stood, wiped his palms on his apron. "This'll take a while." She nodded. "I can wait." Through the afternoon he worked. The forge flared, iron glowed red, then gold. He felt her presence behind him, quiet, patient. The rhythm of the hammer steadied him. When he looked up again, she was staring at the doorway, eyes distant. "Something wrong?" he asked. She shook her head quickly. "No. Just thought I saw someone." Eli followed her gaze. 2 men crossing the street, deputies. One wore a smile that didn't reach his eyes. That night, Eli walked home through the stillness of Red Bluff. Moonlight painted the dirt road silver. Every window seemed to watch him. He couldn't shake the image of her burns, or the way her shoulders had tightened at the sight of those men. His mind wandered to the war again, the time he'd seen prisoners branded by fire, and the smell of burned flesh lingered for days. He sat by his forge until the first light of dawn and wondered if peace built on silence was worth keeping. Sunday came bright and brittle, the sky a clean blue bowl. Church bells rang from the little steeple on the hill. Clara was there, sitting 2 pews ahead of him, her hands folded tightly. Sheriff Caldwell sat near the door, his polished boots crossed, pretending to pray. When the service ended, people spilled into the sunlight, and Eli lingered near the steps. Clara started down the path and then stumbled. Before anyone else moved, Eli caught her. Her weight sagged in his arms, her shawl falling away. Underneath, the skin of her forearms was red and blistered, the burns raw and glistening. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Doc Marin pushed forward, frowning as he peeled back a sleeve. "Lamp oil," he muttered under his breath. Someone poured it on her. Caldwell stepped in, voice hard. "That's enough. Doc, take her home." "And Hart," he fixed Eli with a look sharp as a spur. "You fix horses, not people's troubles." Eli said nothing, but something behind his still eyes shifted, slow and dangerous as an old fault line cracking open. He watched as Clara was carried away, her burned hands twitching, her eyes glazed in pain. The sheriff turned his back and walked off toward the saloon. By dusk, Eli's forge was alive again, though he hadn't taken a job all day. Sparks leapt high, bright against the deepening blue. The sound of the hammer rolled through the empty street, each strike heavier than the last. Inside, his bench lay cleared of tools except for a single object, an old cavalry saber, its blade nicked and rusted from another war.